Alright, sorry for that slight delay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this piece here. And again, in the same orientation as the last one, just stick it in there. Now this is quite hard using just one hand, so this will be a little easier for you guys. I just want to make sure they're in that hole there. As you can see, they're slightly recessed now on both sides. And now we're going to want to go ahead and grab this red piece, and we want that little edge there to be on the left side. So I'm going to go ahead and just set that on top there, and then we'll wipe the Q-tip down so it stays. Now we can see that has a good hold. Now here's the big thing, is this here, usually when you take it out, those edges like to bend a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bend it back. Easier said than done. So there's the one side, and the other side. So this is fairly firm metal, so you don't have to worry too much about. And again, you don't want to apply too much pressure at once. You just want very gentle, even forces so that you can bend it, but you don't want to break it. So if you do flatten it over, you might end up with an issue where the metal will become weak and then it'll be harder to reapply. So I'm just going to go ahead and give that a little wipe down now that I've cleaned or bent it back. Alright, so now this is another interesting part. I'm going to take this, and this basically goes and sits right down on top of there. Now I'm going to try and do this with my other hand. While holding the camera. So try and put the bottom edge on first, because the bottom one is definitely harder. And crap. So I'm going to go ahead and do this with two hands. Alright, so it looks like I gotta pull this off here again. Now my red layer has come off. Looks like my two metal layers are squished together slightly. So there we have those two layers again. Thought I lost one. There's one in. There's two in. There's that piece in. Now, clean up again. This is going to require a fair bit of force. There we go. Pop that back on there. Now we're just going to make sure it worked there. So you can see that. That clip there is back pressed down again. And it's on there both sides. So that is the most difficult part of this. And now with this back on now, you can see as I've already applied mine back, so the shutter thing is against there. And you're just going to want to make sure to push on those tabs in the top and the bottom and make sure they're in all the way. Because that's the last thing we want to have, is the housing falling apart while we're using the camera. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my fingernail to make sure we're pressed over top edge. And then it's under the bottom edge. And it's looking pretty good. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. Just give it a little wipe again. Some more alcohol. And you also want to make sure you don't leave any Q-tip threads in there. So now you can just make sure that's firmly pushed against there. You can see the two pegs are on there again. So now we can go ahead and put everything back together. So first things first is set this top back down on there.